What's up everybody? Ben here with the Spirit of Running, and today we're talking about the Topo Specter. So just a couple things to look at before we really dig into the shoe. This shoe is from the brand Topo. If you're not familiar with it, they're a smaller shoe company, but they're known for this natural foot shape. For me, they kind of split the difference between Ultra and Hoka. We get a lower drop, but not a zero drop like Ultra. So if you're not down with having your feet completely level, but you want that natural foot shape, this is definitely a brand to look at and consider. Let's get some technical specs out of the way and then we'll dig in. This shoe retails for $160, has a 5mm drop, and weighs 8.1 ounces. General overview of the shoe. This shoe is kind of an up-tempo daily trainer. I think that for our runners and walkers, it's definitely going to favor those who are running all the time and not really doing a lot of run and walk intervals. If you're a run walker, I think this is a shoe that you're going to want to save for like your speed sessions or your tempo sessions, and then we can look at a couple other things for like your long, slow mileage. And I'll talk about that more here in a minute. I think that there's one feature in this shoe that kind of lends itself towards that consistent running rather than the run walk or like a walking shoe. Just kind of breaking the shoe down, we've got some really nice rubber here on the bottom. And I think that you can see that there is some exposed EVA here on the bottom as well. But for me, there's enough rubber at the key touch points that I really wasn't worried about any slipping, moving on different surfaces. It's just a smooth rubber, so there's no real dig into the ground. So I think if you're running on concrete a lot, not a problem. If you're running on more crushed gravel and granite, it's not going to really dig into that crushed gravel. But I don't think you're going to have any real issues if you're comfortable running on that surface. Moving up through the shoe, we have an EVA midsole with a Pebax Core. We'll talk a little more about that Pebax Core when we talk about how the shoe performs. But there are two different types of foam here in the midsole. And that's going to be a really important feature for this shoe, and it's going to affect how the shoe feels when you're moving through it. One thing that they do that I like, the tongue is not sewn in. However, if you look here, they've got two little kind of placeholders for the laces rather than a single one in the center. This holds the tongue in nicely and really gives you kind of that locked in feel to the shoe. So even with this more natural foot shape, I didn't feel like the shoe was ever really sloppy. The whole shoe overall runs really true to size. I didn't have any issues there. And I felt really locked into the shoe the whole time I was wearing it. There's enough cushion around the heel cup, and the heel cup itself sits deep enough that I didn't really have any slipping issues. If your foot runs on the wider side, I think Topo in general is a good shoe to look at, especially if you're looking for like a go fast shoe. A lot of those shoes tend to have kind of that pointier, racier shape to it. But I think if your foot runs on the wider side, this is a good opportunity to get that up tempo shoe with that wider toe box, and kind of get that good pickup feeling. Runners and walkers, I think if you're the type of runner who is running consistently, meaning that you're not really taking any walk breaks during your run, not necessarily that you don't have any gaps in your training, I think that this is a shoe that could do really well for you. If you're a person who does more of the run-walk intervals, I think that there's potential that this shoe might not be the best shoe for you. I felt like when I was walking in this shoe, there's some instability in the heel that I think can over time become problematic for people. I think for me, I did some shorter runs. I did a couple long runs in this shoe, and I did notice just a little bit of irritation in my right ankle, which is if I'm gonna have a problem, it's gonna be in that right ankle. I had a really bad sprain about 10 years ago, and so if there is a shoe that I'm gonna have a problem with, I'm gonna feel it on that right side. I did have just some little like niggling pains at the end of my run. Now it could have been a result of something else going on that week, but I think that the instability in the heel could have been a contributing factor to that. What I did like about this shoe was that it's fun to run in. I think that there's a lot of potential for this shoe. It doesn't really fit into that idea of like one shoe to rule them all. I think that for me, and I think for most people, this is definitely going to be like a tempo shoe, or like even an interval shoe. I think that if we're looking for something in the Topo line that we can do our long easy miles in, I think look at the new Phantom 3. And I think that those two shoes pair really well together. So I would do my easier runs and my daily runs in the Phantom, and then do some more of my like longer tempo sessions where I still need that cushion and that protection, but I do want to pick up the pace. I think the Specter is a phenomenal shoe for that. So I think it's a great tool in the toolbox. I'm not sure it's going to be the only tool in the toolbox. But I think that there's a lot of options here. One of the reasons I think that this is not the Swiss Army knife shoe, but that it makes a great up-tempo session shoe, is that even though we have an EVA midsole, it does have a Pebax core to it. Now that core, the cool thing about Pebax and Peba in general is that it's a very versatile material. You can create a very soft foam or a very rigid kind of plate almost, and with this shoe they're using it like a plate, and that Pebax core is where we're getting that extra pep and that extra pop as we move through the stride. Walkers, I think within the Topo line, the Phantom is going to be the better bet for you. I do like how the Specter kind of comes off the front end in the walking stride, but again, the instability in the heel is going to be an issue for a lot of walkers. For the gym, I think that this can be functional. Again, I think that this shoe has kind of a niche place in the lineup, so I'm not sure that this is a shoe that I would want to take to the gym regularly. I think that it functions really well as a running shoe. It functions less well as kind of as a gym shoe, and it kind of splits the difference on the daily shoe side. I did wear this shoe to work and test it out, looking at it as a daily wear shoe. I think for me it was a little too unstable in the heel to wear around every single day as a daily shoe. I think it's a very well cushioned, very comfortable shoe to wear, and I think that if depending on what how you stand and what you're doing through the day, there's a lot of potential here. If you're standing statically in a single place, I think that this could be a very good shoe for you. But I think if we're moving around and doing a lot of different activities throughout the day, again, I think let's look at some other options, and kind of leave this shoe as that in that running. I would leave it in a running only category for most people, I think. Overall, I really enjoyed this shoe. I'm looking forward to putting even more miles on it as I go through and train for upcoming races. I think that for me, it's a very specific shoe to wear. So I'm going to wear it for certain workouts. I did enjoy running long in it. On workouts where like I was doing a long run with some pickup sessions in it. So I think that there is some versatility in this shoe, but again, for me, I'm going to keep it in that faster up-tempo category. Definitely a shoe worth trying on. See what you think about it, and let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, drop those in the comments section. Be sure and hit those like and subscribe buttons. They help me out, and they make sure you don't miss anything in the future. Have a good one.